Welcome, everyone. Happy Thursday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Thursday, December 12th, 2024. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first two cards in our 5-card spread for today? First two cards we are starting our day off with today are Queen of Swords in its reversal in combination with our Strength card in its upright. This is very relevant to what we were seeing in the cards over the last few days. So we're going to talk about it again. We've got a lot of energy right now in retrograde. We were deep in the heart of Mercury retrograde period. And then we've been talking a lot about this Mars retrograde that hit right in the midst of the retrograde. And this feels like 1-2 punch kind of energy. This feels like a lot of this work in relationality to navigating one's own confidence. But again, we're going to say the same thing we were speaking about yesterday. Courage is not the directionality that you move when you have that sense of certainty as it relates to what lies ahead. Courage is what you do when you know that your intentionality guides you forward, come what may, right? And a lot of that work, navigating forward in that way, there's a lot, I want to say, that while this may be feeling like a difficult time, there's also a lot of that feeling of strength that is coming through. And this is that modality of feeling the strength of the self. This is having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. For feminine energy right now, this may be feeling extremely vulnerable. This could be potentially a lot of the feminine energy navigating from a place of vulnerability. But again, what is a lot of the lesson that we see that is occurring during these periods? Feminine energy is remembering that their vulnerability is a gift. That the feminine energy's vulnerability to a certain extent is their highest strength. And so for a lot of the feminine energy in this modality, this is what we talk about when we speak towards letting go of bitterness. I am not surprised to see these cards in combination right now, specifically and particularly because we've been talking about for a lot of the energy in separation right now, in order to forge new energetic connections, it feels like you're walking towards the thing that energetically hurt you. This is why healing the wounds of trust are so difficult, because it feels counter-oppositional to one's own healing journey to move back in the directionality of something that may have hurt you in the past. But what do we see that is happening right now for a lot of the feminine energy? Is this feminine energy that is moving into a place of stillness, in that sense of that refusal of accepting and believing that the past is doomed to repeat itself? No. This is the energy that is learning and working to hold the past and to hold their fear with an open palm, which is, again, that healthy recognition of the past, that healthy fear, the fear that informs as opposed to the fear that prevents movement, right? Because working through that to a certain extent, we see even now that this is the feminine energy that articulates upon those anxieties, that speaks towards them, and recognizing and identifying the energetic equivalent of another that holds the same. We see even now that there are wounds of trust that are being healed. For masculine, this is a lot of the energetic compassion that I see right now for the masculine energy that's moving towards feminine at this moment, at modality. Because again, masculine may be having a lot of those wounds in relationality to feminine being energetically consistent, right? I see a lot of the masculine energy that is potentially healing from spaces or places where feminine's words did not match their actions. So we see even now that both of these energies, if there is fear that is being expressed, this is the fear that heals, because it is in the articulation of those wounds, the observation and the recognition of them, instead of the projection of the past onto the present connection, that we see even now that wounds of trust are being healed, but it's requiring them to be opened in the process, right? We heal a wound not by projecting it, but by opening it, by observing it. So we see even now there is energy that is feeling that pause, but looking instead as to whether the pause has cause, right? So if the pause does not have cause, then this is the energy saying that that pause is from the past. And so we see even now that that is helping to reinforce that feeling of moving with intentionality. It's bittersweet because it is the integration of the difficulty. When we don't move blindly, everything is bittersweet because we're integrating the lessons as it relates to what we've experienced prior to this point. While for masculine and feminine energy right now coming into divine union, this is navigating some of the unclear perspective that may be occurring at this time as energy is moving something into a point of healthy connection. Now, I need to stress this right now. These are not energetic connections that are coming into a place of stability with the hope of patching something up. If something isn't good in the etheric space, moving it into a deepening commitment in the tangible space does not fix it, right? You can, like, this is the energy that's learned that. And that's why we see even now that for a lot of this energy, if there's energy around partnership that is expressing concern or hesitation, this is the energy that's trying to amplify and say, you don't understand. This isn't being moved forward in an attempt to fix something. This is a celebration in terms of something that has grown strong enough to be able to move into tangibility. It's already happened. Remember, like that's a lot of that energy that we saw yesterday saying it's already happened. You know, it's not changing the directionality. And that observational point, it may be triggering, right? Because this could be a lot of energy right now moving beyond the point that they've ever been before because they may have experienced. This is either the memory of wounds that occurred where you are in this process of doing so, and someone allowed their own ego to move them away from moving deeper into connection because they were not ready for the turbulence that moving something into tangible state causes in energy surrounding the self, right? So there's a lot of that clarification that we see even now, and it's nostalgic, but it's nostalgic in relationality to looking and feeling like one has already changed. This is having a different impact on masculine and feminine. Again, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. For feminine, there's a lot of vulnerability here. This could be a lot of the feminine energy that's feeling that sense of release and relief in seeing the masculine being able to navigate from a point of strength. Why is the feminine energy seeing masculine as they're coming into divine union standing upon a point of strength? Because this is the feminine energy that sees strength in masculine, not in their outward strength, but in the strength of their energetic conviction in protecting their partnership, right? Love requires us to be strong, and love requires us to be strong against strong winds. So this is the energy of the feminine feeling the release and relief of a masculine that's showing the ability to be strong in the face of winds that requires you to move in the directionality that others may not necessarily feel is for them, because this is feminine energy seeing masculine on a pathwork of integrity and relationality to what they know is what they want to create for themselves. While for feminine and masculine energy, feeling that same stability of feminine, navigating those modalities, right? This isn't feminine internalizing the fears of others around them, but rather the feminine that has worked on that space of recognizing and identifying that, not working in that space of trying to spread work, doing that work to a certain degree. This is more of the masculine that sees the feminine in that space of working through some of that same sadness, because this is the feminine that is potentially feeling that clarification point in relationality to the energy that feels like it's supportive to them, versus the feminine navigating those situations that feels like the clarity is occurring in terms of what they desired from them. So we see even now, what are these energies doing? It's fortifying the bonds, right? That's the strong wind that fortifies the bonds. Masculine and feminine energy, and deep within divine union right now, this is a lot of that energy navigating in the same way and feeling the frustration in what that pathwork is, right? And I have to stress this, Like this is difficult because these are I feel like there's energies right now in conversation speaking towards the nuanced difference in relationality to how one experiences something and is celebrated, and another person is in that same modality and goes through that pathwork of feeling faulty for it. And it has a lot to do with strength, right? Because we see even now, this could be a lot of the masculine talking about that's that strength of conviction, right? That firm conviction to integrity is something that is celebrated within masculine, but the feminine may be experiencing their own frustration in relationality to when feminine moves in that same modality, it isn't perceived that way. It's looked as bossy. It's looked at as refusing to be nice. It's looked at as refusing to be polite, right? So we see even now that this is the feminine, like almost like articulating their frustration. But is the masculine and deep within divine union taking it personally? No, this is a masculine saying, I see it. I feel I'm connected to your journey. I recognize, I see those hurdles that you have to navigate, and I recognize that I don't have to experience them. So this is the observation of the imbalance that creates a sense of further stability. Center card in today's spread, we have here a lot of this is some of that emotionality that we're potentially experiencing and expressing at this time, specifically with this Nine of Swords and it's upright. There's a feeling, I want to say, there's a feeling of energetic unfairness there, right? But when we navigate that moment, when we go through those experiences, right? When we go through those experiences when we're feeling that struggle point, do we allow ourselves to be caught in the modality of saying it's not fair? No. Like, no. Like, it's just like, what are you going to do? You do like, and what's beautiful about this is I see a lot of the masculine energy coming towards the space of support of the feminine. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. I see even now, like the masculine energy, like holding space for the feminine in that modality, experiencing it and recognizing it. This is a lot of the masculine reaching a point of healing to such an extent that the ability to articulate and understand the imbalance that is created as it relates to feminine moving into that modality of strength and feeling like they're taking steps in the wrong direction. Feminine healing from those modalities that told them that it was more important to be liked than right. Right? This is a lot of the masculine that sees that and feels the volatility. And what does the healthy masculine energy do? Is this the masculine energy that becomes protective of the feminine in that context, right? So for both of these energies, these are the energies that share that burden because they don't see it as separate. They see it as a unified field. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, a lot of this energy right now working through that same context. The clarity that is potentially arising right now between what feels like it is supportive to partnership versus what feels like it's oppositional towards it. And it's often in those modalities that we experience that sense of bittersweetness because this is the energy that looks towards that and says, I'm sorry you feel that way, right? Because this is the energy that says that when they're moving deeper into commitment, they're not doing it to be reactive. They're not doing it to elicit a reactivity point. Quite the opposite. This is the energy that moves towards conviction of partnership because it feels integral. And when we're moving towards something that feels like it is integral, it's kind of it comes out. It feels like it feels the integrity of it. It almost feels like it's out of our hands because it's like I see a lot of that energy saying because it is integral. There's no changing it, right? Like because it is integral, it's already. I see the energy saying it's not something that's in the modality of changing. It's something that is being articulated because it already has changed. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is in separation. This is wounds being sutured right now. These are wounds being sutured. These are wounds of trust that are being sutured, and it hurts. It's painful, right? Because there's intimacy that's happening right now and forging in some of these connections, because these are energies and situations wherein these aren't energies saying, I don't talk about the past. This is energy saying, I don't look back there. No, because I told you, this is the energy that recognizes their healing, holding the past with an open palm, right? So this is the energy that introspects upon that past because they feel like they're still learning those lessons. So these are the energies that are starting to learn those lessons together via the sharing of the wound, right? And in the expression of the wound, right, this is how they begin to suture them. Final two cards in our 5-card spread for today. Before we start getting clarification on these cards, we have here Queen of Pentacles in its reversal, in combination with our 8 of Cups in its upright. There's a lot, I want to say, there's a lot of frustration here, right? There's a lot of frustration. And I want to say today, it's a little bit more, I want to say it's a little bit more difficult in the perspective of feminine. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Because for a lot of the feminine energy right now, I'm seeing that recognition point between what one feels is, I want to say, this is a lot of that energy that feels the frustration in not being able to like navigate or work through. And I need to, this is something that's very important that's coming through in relationality to feminine energy. The energy of the feminine is healing from those modalities wherein someone wanted them to fit some kind of role. Someone wanted to wanted to jam the square peg into the round hole in relationality to what it is that the feminine is, right? And this is the feminine energy that is healing in separation from, particularly from situations or circumstances where someone said to them, you did not meet my expectations. And what occurs in that moment that someone says to us, you did not meet my expectation. You did not fill the role that I desired you to fill. This is a lot of the energy that is healing right now from masculine that says to feminine, I'm not going to ask you to fill a role because you're not an object. I'm not asking you to fill a role because you are not an actor in my play. You are a full faceted being. So we see even now that for a lot of that energy, working in the context of someone saying to them, or healing via the energy of masculine that says, I'm not here for you to fit into my manifestation. You're not just a little piece that I'm looking for. This is the masculine that says, I am here to learn from you. We are here to learn together. We are here to adapt together. So that adaptability point, the masculine that's coming towards feminine, not, and again, working in that facility. And this is the masculine that's, again, holding the dual roles of what they, like when you navigate a manifestation and you recognize that you don't walk into a manifestation, you create it for yourself. You are a healthy gardener, right? You don't go in and say, oh, good, I found a garden. You get in the dirt. You create it with your own hands. We see even now that a lot of that energy is building forth and saying to feminine, and this is how they may be healing from those experiences in the past. It says, when I ask you, when I say to you, you are not perfect, what I'm saying is I have an ideal. I have a false ideal of what feminine should be, and I will be oppositional to you if I feel that you're not fitting it. This is the masculine coming towards feminine and almost saying from a point of healing, show me what feminine is. Show me what feminine is, because I have a misconception of it. So this is the masculine energy that is literally coming towards feminine in separation on bended knee. But you have to understand that that is not the bended knee of an energy that is in surrender. That is in the masculine coming towards feminine on bended knee as a plea, as the role of saying, I want to create with you, but I also want to learn from you. I want to share that experience. So there's a lot of healing that's happening right now. And this is the masculine saying to feminine, help me, because in those modalities where feminine articulated what they wanted me to hear, as opposed to who they were, we have been living under that illusion of each other, right? So these are, we see even now, like there's a lot of this, like there's a lot of this openness and there's a lot of this vulnerability that's happening, but there's also like it's a massive expression of pain, right? Because when we're on a path work that is healing, it's going to hurt because we're going to look back and say, I was faulty there. I made an error there. A healthy path is not one that you feel that you are perfect every step of the way. A healthy path is one that you always look back and say, I've learned something of value. I've learned something important. Today I get to take that lesson and bring it forward. For a lot of this energy right now coming into divine union, that modality of feeling the expression or the expansion between energy that may be articulating disturbance of something moving into divine union from a place of authenticity, a place of genuine care, the energy that says, I care about you, I want what's best for you, but I recognize that you know what that is better than I, versus those energetic connections that say, I just think I know what's best for you, right? This is how the energy is healing, because that modality of experiencing and expressing the energy that feels like it is celebratory versus feeling like it is resigned. We see even now that there's a lot of that feeling of understanding that's occurring in relationality to what feels like it is energetically supportive versus what feels like more in a state of frustration and vulnerability. It's not easy, right? It's not easy for a lot of the energy that's navigating that coming deeper into divine union right now. But a lot of that observation in terms of feeling the pain and saying they just don't understand. I see even now, is this the energy that's becoming bitter in that? No. Like, they're not holding on to it too tightly because they're not moving forward with the desire of concern with what others perceive of what they built for themselves. They navigate it with the open palm of understanding. And when we do so, it hurts sometimes, because sometimes when you look at things and you see them, it can hurt to look at them. Like but that hurt comes from a modality of expressing compassion, right? While for a lot of this energy right now, deep within divine union, this is a lot of the energy that, again, and I got to say it even now, masculine and feminine, working through those feelings of energetic frustration. And I see even now there's more of that articulation point. And this is why we saw the disparity. Remember some of that volatility that was occurring in relationality to the role and expectation of masculine versus feminine. So we see even now that difference of perspective, this is how the energy is healing, because this is the energy saying, I know that you feel that way because you experience something different than I experience on my path work, right? This is a little bit of that same message that can be so difficult, because sometimes masculines are like masculine, again, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, like masculine telling the feminine something easy to do. And this is the feminine saying to masculine, that's easy for you to say. Why do we say to someone in the context that's easy for you to say? Is because we articulate in that moment, your path work facilitates something that you can do with great easement. It's a little more complicated. It's more complicated if you're not in the same energetic journey, right? So I keep hearing that that's a little bit of how some of these wounds are healing, but it's not the person saying in a mean way, that's easy for you to say. This is someone explaining to someone and saying, that's easy for you to say, recognize that there is something in your path work that is, imagine there is something easy in your path work that when you do, it is easy, it makes everything move like butter, but the minute I do it, everything locks up, right? This is like the masculine and feminine saying, when you put grease on something, it greases the wheels. When I put grease on something, it starts a grease fire. Like, this is the energy that's like articulating the frustration of taking the same approach and having a different reaction to it, right? It can be very frustrating. Continuing to get clarification between our Queen of Swords in its reversal in combination with our Strength card in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Two cards coming out to clarify. Okay, and we've got, we've got here our King of Swords in its reversal and our Knight of Pentacles. And here's the thing, for the masculine energy deep within divine union, this is the masculine energy that gets it, right? This is the masculine energy that just straight up gets it. They see it, they perceive it, right? This is a lot of the masculine energy that I see even now, maybe navigating those circumstances or situations of articulating that potentially even to other masculine energy that doesn't get it. like because that modality or working through that to a certain extent, you know, this is a lot. I see that there's a lot of this. Like I want you to see the counterparts right now, right? I want you to see the counterparts. Are these counterparts? Do you see how these are energetic counterparts, right? Like, yes, are they counterparts because they're always in the same, they're always of the same perspective? No, this is the yin yang that we're looking at right here, right? This is the feminine that says the world desires me to be soft, and masculine says the world desires me to be hard. But that modality of experiencing that, that's the moment that says when we try to move into each other's pathwork, we become stronger, but others don't like it. Like others energetically don't like it. Right? It's working through that to a certain extent because it's understanding and recognizing that when we become firm, the thing that is firm does not leave itself open to energetic lessons, right? When we are rigid, we are stone. When we are stone, we are not living. When we are not adaptable, and that does not require adaptability in all things, but holding on to what is intrinsic and being adaptable as it relates to how you see something intrinsically. We see even now that this is the energy that navigates forward in that way and says when they experience too much of that rigidity, that is the expression of someone that is responding from their egoic self. They're taking something personally instead of being introspective upon it. So these are the energies that do this work. Like, do you see this? This is the energy within divine union. They do the work for the self and for partnership, but they're also doing it to break those patterns and cycles that create more of that volatility to begin with, right? This is the energy healing from the hurts of the past and saying, I can't change the past, but I can be very intentional in the present, right? And this is a lot of that energy coming into divine union, navigating either two different modalities of someone saying their concern is for good reason because they're seeing me in a way that I was before I was as stable, right? This is the energy saying, looking at something and saying, I know that concern is coming from someone that is having the concern of their best interest for me, right? The well-intentioned anxiety versus the energy sorting through and saying that is someone that is frustrated because something that I'm doing is oppositional towards the directionality that they hoped us to go into. So we see even now, like navigating it, it's bittersweet, but it's also, this is the energy that feels fortified as they do so, because this is a lot of that energy navigating something from a place of, again, educating another, not taking something personally, but being trying to let that become an educational moment. And this is why this is a lot of this energy right now. This is the cloud break, right? If there was a lot of this energy that was experiencing that frustration yesterday in relationality to feelings of the past returning, that anxiety of the fear of what could happen in the past occurring again, these are not energies that are reacting to it. These are energies that are articulating through it. Look at this. This is masculine and feminine saying, what you're experiencing from me is not hesitation, it's trepidation. Let me tell you where that fear comes from. Let me tell you the story of the thing that hurt me that makes it harder for me to approach you, right? And so in the articulation of that story, of that journey, these are the energies that heal one another in the process. Continuing to get clarification between our Strength card in combination with our 9 of Swords in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now. Look at this. We've got our 5 of Wands in its reversal. This is trepidation that the energy in separation is experiencing, not hesitation. This is the energy that is recognizing, and I will say, like, this is the energy that is recognizing And this is potentially even coming through for some energy that may have recently fallen into separation at a time that something was moving into the tangible space. For some of the energy, I see two different modalities coming in separation right now. Either the energy that recognizes hesitation instead of trepidation on the part of someone that was moving into a deepening of commitment, or these are new energetic connections that are being forged right now. But the articulation of saying to someone, what you are experiencing for me is trepidation, and I'm going to show you that it is trepidation via me explaining to you the reason and the causes why. These are energies that are, what are they doing? Are they being reactive? Are they taking it personally? Are they being volatile? No. They're restoring faith. They're restoring trust in the process of that. And this is more of that same energy. If this is the energy, look at this. This is the energy clarifying, coming into divine union and saying, I'm sorry. Like, this is the energy saying, I'm sorry if seeing me moving towards something that, you know, creates that sense of concern within you. But this is the energy that's saying to like saying, you know, be at peace because I am at peace, right? This is the energy saying, be at peace because I am at peace, because what I'm moving towards makes me stronger. These are the energies saying that that divine union fortifies, does not cause energetic pain, right? And so that's the energy that says, again, it is what it is, because this is the energy that if they see that pain that moving deeper into connection causes, it's not intentional, right? It's circumstantial. And that's why the energy is feeling pain, because when we see something of someone experiencing like pain at a moment that it was not our energetic intention, that's when we say to someone, I am sorry. I'm sorry you feel that way. I experience pain because something that I'm doing is causing you pain, but I cannot change my direction in order to facilitate releasing that pain. It's not intentional, it's circumstantial, right? While for masculine and feminine, deep within divine union right now, this is a lot of that energy that reinforces and articulates to one another that state or space of doing what we can. And it's not always easy. You know, it's not always easy, but this is the energy deep within divine union that says, I'm not in, like, the energy within divine union isn't in divine union because it's easy. The energy is in divine union because they articulate and say that when things get difficult, the difficulty feels lighter in partnership, right? This is the energy saying, what difficulty? What burden? What burden? Right? Because this is the energy saying, you are not an energetic burden. You are my strength, right? Continuing to get clarification between our Nine of Swords in combination with our Queen of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now. A lot, like, this is hard today. There's a lot of unpacking of wounds and working through that, facing those abandonment wounds. It's painful, you know, it's triggering. It's I can see even now, and it's triggering for masculine and feminine in different ways. But that ability, like, again, are these for the energy that's on the healing path right now. When we feel triggered, do we react to an energetic trigger, or do we articulate through it? This is the energy that articulates through the triggers, right? And it's through the modality of articulating those triggers that we find that possibility of healing. Now, for feminine, you know, a lot of this frustration is just the fact that, like, look, I got to just tell you, like, things are frustrating. Okay, I want to say this right now to everybody watching. The retrograde is not here just to confound things. I know it feels like that. Don't overly internalize it. Just recognize it, right? And when you're able to recognize that, don't let it make you doubt yourself. Let it reaffirm your own energetic commitment in relationality to what that directionality is. Because I see even now that for a lot of this energy, you know, there's a lot of this work that I see, and I got to say, can I just show you, like, masculine and feminine kind of feeling a little bit of that frustration right now. But again, An obstacle that is recognized is an obstacle that can be overcome. I know I've been saying that on repeat but I'm going to keep saying it until the 16th is over, right? Because it's giving me like a lot of this, like it's giving me like a little bit of this ramrod energy. It's like it's just how many times you have to like throw yourself against the door before the door opens kind of thing. But a lot of that work, like this is the energy that looks towards one another and says that, that a bit like that gift of saying, I'm not like, this is the energy saying, I don't feel like I'm doing well enough. And the energy saying, I think you're doing exceptional because I see how hard you work in that direction. Right? Like this is the energy that says you don't run from your abandonment wounds. You slam against them. This is some energy right now deep within divine union that says to each other, I adore you, because when you see that abandonment wound, you just slam your shoulder into it. But like in a loving way, right? Because that basically means that the energy is introspective in relationality to their own anxiety, right? They don't avoid it. They don't run from something that's difficult. This is the energy that feels that confidence, because this is the energy that like does so not only for themselves, but they look towards a counterpart and say, I know they would do this too. And that's the difference of, again, you not assuming in retrogrades, but you can presume, right? And what's the difference between assuming and presuming? Assuming is assuming that you know something that you don't know. Presuming is knowing someone so much or so well that you can anticipate in a way that feels like adoration. It's sacred, While for masculine and feminine energy, like I get a lot of like, what would the counterpart do? While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union right now, I'm seeing even now that a lot of this energy, like this is why, if these are modalities where they're experiencing some of that friction as they're moving something into a deepening energetic connection, I just keep hearing, I'm sorry you feel that way. It wasn't my intention. Because if these are modalities that only, and this is something that we experience, right? Moving deeper into commitment, and all of a sudden you're moving something deeper into commitment, and things start popping out of the woodwork, being like, pop, pop, pop. Like this is the energy saying, I'm not doing this to elicit a reaction. Right? This is the energy saying, I'm not doing it because of what is going to occur outside of something. I'm moving in this way because it is the energetic intention, right? So we see even now that that's a lot of that energy, that in the articulation of that, coming into that educational moment towards circumstances or situations that feel like they're causing volatility or friction as you're moving into the deepening of an energetic connection. This is a lot of that reaffirmation as to what feels like it is healthy and supportive versus what feels like it is resistant. And it's in those modalities that like it's bittersweet. Coming into divine union is bittersweet. It typically doesn't feel, it's not all the sunshine and rainbows that you often experience or you believe it will be, right? It's that's the happy ending is when everything starts, right? While for masculine and feminine energy that is in separation, this is scary. I want to say this. I see a lot of the energy right now in separation, articulating to someone and saying, I'm frightened. But I have to say, it's in the moment that they say to each other, I'm frightened, that they offer the possibility of saying, I am too. I'll hold your hand as we do this, right? Not reacting to the fear, not allowing the fear to move you oppositional to one's intention, but articulating through it. This is the energy holding each other's hands along the way and healing in the process. Continuing to get clarification between our Queen of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with that. I like this now. I'm telling you right now, we're getting over the hump of this retrograde today. One card to clarify. Clarification coming through right now with our Page of Pentacles, right? Look at this. Do you see this is further amplification of what we just said. When we articulate upon our fears, instead of projecting them outwards, we immediately allow that ability of sharing the strength it takes to move forward, right? There's a lot of this energy. It feels cathartic today. It feels supportive. And it's that modality of someone articulating and someone saying, I feel that too. You are not alone in that. I am with you, right? That is the voice of love. The voice of love is you are not alone. I am with you every step of the way. Continuing to get, and that's happening across all of the frequencies. And that's why I say, even now, that for a lot of that energy, even moving deeper into divine union, if that's causing some energetic friction, I keep hearing, I love you. I also feel afraid. I'm with you every step of the way. And I'm also hearing, I'm sorry you feel that way. Because that is the compassion of someone experiencing love and handing that love to someone, even in that modality. These are the energies that are trying to extend some of that love that they're feeling towards those that are surrounding them, right? Continuing to get clarification between our Queen of Swords in its reversal, our Knight of Pentacles in its reversal, and our Five of Wands in its reversal. One card to clarify. Clarification coming through this in our Judgment card in its reversal. So I see even now that for a lot of that energy, facilitating upon this work. Now for the energy in separation, this is the anxiety of the past repeating. What is the energy healing from? They're healing from those modalities wherein they experienced something that did not go the way that they hoped or intended. And this isn't energy that says, I'm just going to go I'm blameless in that. I'm going to continue to move forward. I'm going to avoid any of that work. No, this is the energy that is introspective, right? This is the energy that takes notes on their own journey. This is the energy that says, if I move towards you slowly, it's because I want to be energetically careful. And I want to make sure that that intention is such that I don't damage the progress that I've made. But more importantly, I don't want to damage the progress that you've made, because I recognize that I've also found you at a place of healing. So we see even now, there's a lot of energy right now that is healing from carelessness. The carelessness of someone that moves towards someone too quickly, that is often articulate of another's desires overriding intentionality. These are the energies that are building together slowly and carefully, specifically because this is the energy that says, I arrive to you not in a space of forcing you to come into a space of trust with me, but recognizing that trust is something that is earned and something that we create with one another slowly. So even here, the difference between hesitation and trepidation being clarified and healed in the process. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, coming into divine union, it's more of that sense when you start experiencing, when you're moving deeper into partnership and everything starts moving all weird around you, this is the energy that just observes it. It doesn't recalibrate. It's a recognition that whenever you create something that where there's something was not, it's going to have some kind of reactivity point. And if these are modalities and wherein energy in the past, this is not energy moving into divine union, looking around outside of the self every step of the way to see if others approve of that directionality. This is the energy that's just staring each other dead on as they do so, come what may. While for masculine and feminine energy, deep within divine union, this is a lot of that energy that I told you, that feeling of frustration or unfairness that often arises when one inhabits the same. This is why the energy can't necessarily take each other's advice always to the letter, right? We can navigate with one another with deep, 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 profound love. But the observation that our own way of navigating something may not necessarily have the same impact or the same effect as the energetic counterpart. This is how this energy works through it, because feeling and experiencing that volatility. And I see even now masculine being there's something that I do, and whenever I do it, it makes everyone feel wow, look how strong that person is. Whereas every time you do it, they go, wow, what a self-involved person, not working to be liked enough, not working to be accommodating enough. This is the energy that is around the energy deep within divine union, that feels the frustration because they see the imbalance that occurs when they try to take each other's approach and it has different outcomes, right? Continuing to get clarification between our Five of Wands in its reversal with our Five of Pentacles in its upright. This is important stuff here. We've got double five energies. One card to clarify. Clarification coming through right now with the Magician in its reversal. So there's, I'm telling you even now, a lot of healing right now. A lot of healing, particularly in the realms of intentionality. Particularly in the realms of intentionality. Being able to facilitate and recognize and do what one feels is best is not necessarily always the easiest thing, right? And often it is misperceived and misarticulated. So even here, these are not the energies that move forward blindly and say to themselves, everything that we do is perfect. They hold space for each other and they articulate and amplify their intentions. And in that experience, in that ability of looking towards something, right? Like this is the energy that reminds one another that ability of working through and facilitating forward, that you know, even in that path work, not to lose confidence with yourself along the way, right? Because so much of this that we're seeing now, this is the energy that says, like, this is the confidence that they give one another, particularly as they navigate those frustrations, right? And a lot of that articulates, this isn't the energy that says, you know, someone brings a problem towards me and I'm going to like react to it in the same way. This is the energy says that ability of doing so, it allows for that, like, this is how we heal it. Healing is not matching energy. Healing is saying it stops here, right? Healing is when someone sometimes healing is as simple as saying, if I've experienced hurt, it stops here. I'm not gonna perpetuate that hurt. I'm not gonna perpetuate that cycle that harms. I'm gonna experience the imbalance of receiving it, and that's how I'm gonna stop it. Right? Because when we feel the volatility of something and say, I know what I'll do, and we kind of like that's where we don't think so much about what we're creating. We just amplify the negative, right? If someone's bringing negative to you, you amplify the negative. You create more negative. You create more negative. It's like, congratulations. Whatever provoked you just got the thing that they desired from you. This is the energy that says stop. This is the energy that says it stops here. It stops with me. That stoppage or that pause, like that moment of stopping, that creates that ability of balance, because the ability to say it stops here. This is what allows one not to create more of what you do not like, but saying, I'm not going to participate upon it. I'm not going to inflict those wounds of the past. I'm not going to perpetuate those unhealthy cycles, right? While for masculine and feminine energy, that is coming into divine union, this is why we see even now that for a lot of that energy coming into divine union, that experience or that modality of doing something, we see even now that this is the energy that, again, if someone is articulating their own frustration in relationality to the direction that they see counterparts headed towards, this is the energy that says, I am sorry you feel that way. And this isn't someone that is dismissing another's feelings. This is the compassion that is expressed in articulating to someone, bear in mind that directionality was not one that was created to elicit a reaction in you, right? That is the energy that says, bear in mind, I am not doing that. This is not moving forward in effect for what it will engender outside of partnership. Healthy partnership is not done for a state of reactivity. Healthy partnership is one that is moved towards with intentionality of purpose. So we see even now that is becoming an educational moment for those within the divine union or entering divine union. And a lot of that is articulating to another that even that amount of attention in terms of clarifying that to someone, there's only so much attention that one would give something there, Because again, when you're experiencing turbulence, you don't go chasing after the source. You just navigate through it. While for masculine and feminine energy right now in separation, this is why I got to tell you, some of these energies in separation right now, some of these new connections, I mean, I just see a lot of grief being released. A lot of grief, but it feels healthy. It feels like healthy grief, because that ability of working through to a certain extent, you know, I can see the energy saying to one another, I'm sorry that happened to you, right? And this is, I can see even now the energy saying, it didn't happen to me. Even here, I see the energy saying, it didn't happen to me, right? This is the energy. And even in that statement, the energy saying, no, it did not happen to me. I was a part of it. The ability to take the accountability, this is also what's allowing that energy to heal, because this is a lot of the energy saying, I work in the pathwork of recognizing and understanding the lessons that came from a certain circumstance and situation that is effectively allowing me to release that and move forward with the value of the lesson. And that's not to say that we desire those difficulties that we experience, but this is the energy that says, at least I take from it that energetically valuable lesson. And that is where some of that trepidation is springing forth from. This is why it's really important right now not to assume that the experiences of the past are repeating. Yesterday was very heavy for that. Clarification, letting that clarity drive forward at this time is key. Continuing to get clarification between our Five of Pentacles in combination with our Page of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. King of Pentacles in its reversal. Do you see all the harmony right now with these cards? Can I just show you a few of these cards? And when this reading is complete, if you're listening to the podcast, make sure that you go take a look at the photo that is going to be over on graystrega.substack.com. We've got here our King of Swords, our Queen of Swords in its reversal. We've got energy here, harmony. We've got here Queen of Pentacles in its reversal, King of Pentacles in its reversal. A lot of energetic harmony right now between masculine and feminine. Feeling that, and again, a lot of it, I keep on hearing the energy saying, on this we can agree. Why is the energy saying, on this we can agree? Because this is the energy that does not require the same experience. It does not require the same exact perception. It does not require the same exact opinion. But the unification point arrives in the statement or articulation of saying to one another, on this we can agree. Because that modality, that experience, that clarification, if you will, this is the energy that reaffirms their own energetic commitment towards one another via the articulation of what feels like it is stabilizing. And this is the energy that says, I might not necessarily be able to navigate what happens outside of the self, but we can certainly fix that within our relationship. We can certainly fix that within our partnership. We can certainly fix that in what we create together. Right? This is not the energy that perpetuates forward in an unhealthy way. This is the energy that looks at something and does not avoid looking at it so that they can utilize it as a valuable lesson to come into that state or space of correction. It's not easy, but it's important. And I can see even now a lot of that is navigating frustration. Continuing to get clarification on these cards here between our Judgment card in its reversal in combination with our Magician card in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Seven of Swords in its upright. A lot of this is the articulation and amplification of energy saying, and I need to stress this. This is a lot of this energy that is integral but adaptable, right? This is a lot of that work that we saw that is coming through as it relates to the work prior to the retrograde starting, that combination force of the uncomfortable Taurus full moon in Scorpio with the combination moving Pluto into Aquarius. It doesn't, when you're too adaptable, you don't care about anything. right? When you're too adaptable, like anything is on the table, right? When you're too firm, when you're too integral, it creates myopathy. It creates that moment of being too rigid, too inflexible, insisting something needs to come in the form that it needs to come into. And that's just it. So what is a lot of the energy that's healing doing right now? They're becoming the bow that bends it but does not break. Recognizing what is integral to the self. The healthy emotions that rise up when they're defending the higher self, something that is higher and important, versus what is energetically flexible. What is adaptable? What is more the egoic self? Recognizing like what the ego demands. The ego wants what it wants, and it wants what it wants right now. But the integral feeling is the feeling that says, the emotion that rises up because it's important. The emotion that rises up because it is valid. So a lot of this energy right now is doing that work in navigating what feels like it is the provocative energy of the ego that wants what it wants, when it wants it, wants to panic when it doesn't receive it, wants to get very oppositional, wants to snap back, versus the energy that is integral that says these are the emotions that rise up because there is something important at work. These are the sacred emotions. These are the emotions that hold on to something because it is energetically sacred. So we see even now that working through that to a certain degree, this is allowing adaptability, but also rigidity, right? The bow that bends but does not break. That is the emotions that are important because they bring us closer towards our highest self while removing the ones that feel like they are unnecessary. Continuing to get clarification between our Magician card in its reversal in combination with our King of Pentacles in its reversal. And I need to stress this even now. This is more of that this is the difficulty that we're seeing right now for a lot of the energy in separation, which is, again, uncaring energy moves very similarly to energy that cares a great deal. Uncaring, like this is a big challenge right now for energy in separation. Energy that does not care looks a lot like energy that cares way too much, that it creates that sense of trepidation. Hesitation and trepidation, man, they look exactly the same. Can I get one card to clarify? Can I get one card to clarify? Funny, huh? You know, because, and here's the thing. What is the clarification? Intentionality. This is what trust is. This is what intention means. What does it mean when we move on a pathwork of intentionality? You've heard me say this so many times. When we move on a pathwork of intentionality, we relinquish the result. When we move on a pathwork of intentionality, we let go of the anticipated result. When we move in a pathwork of intentionality, we let go of the anticipated result. We are not trying to manipulate the future. We are trying to move in accordance to it. We are trying to move in accordance to it. We're not trying to manipulate it. We are trying to move in accordance to it. That is what healing is. So we see even now that ability of doing so, this is the energy that goes, I could be walking right into the thing that hurt me. And the universe goes, I know. And I can see the energy trying to heal and going, I'm terrified. And the universe says, I know. And this is some energy even saying to one another, I don't even know if I can trust you saying that. And then the energy saying, I know. Right? What wounds us scares us from moving towards what is for us. What moves us scares us from moving towards what is for us. And this is the energy that says, I'm not asking you to trust me. I am asking you to be brave for me. And it is in that modality that healing can begin. For a lot of this energy right now, same modality. I feel like a lot of this energy right now moving into divine union is clarifying to energy around them, saying, I'm not doing this to elicit an energetic reaction. I'm sorry if you felt that was something that I was energetically doing. Like, that's a lot of the energy saying, make no mistake that ability of moving forward, when we're moving forward into healthy partnership, we do not move forward into healthy partnership to manipulate the energetic future. We move towards healthy partnership come what may. This is the energy that says, I move in this direction for intentionality. I'm not doing that for that sense of reactivity. So we see even now that there's a lot of healing that is occurring in that modality via the clarification of energy saying, I'm sorry you feel like that, because this is the energy saying this is what is integral and important, right? And in that modality, moving deeper into divine union. While for a lot of this energy right now, deep within divine union, this is the energy that says, I adore you. Not because we see things in the same way, but because that ability, like what happens in that modality of recognizing and identifying one's own intentions. This is the energy that says that even if your attention is focused on something else, I adore you within that, because that is the ability that says, thank you. Like, thank you for that perspective. Sometimes you want to be like, thank you for that perspective, because sometimes when someone gives you that perspective, they show you yourself in a way that you're like, you're right, right? And this is a little bit of this energy in divine union that says to each other, I know you and I love you because I see you better than you see yourself. And this is the energy that says, I adore you in all of those facets. Final card for today's spread between our Seven of Wands in its upright and our Wheel of Fortune. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with, oh, thank goodness. This is good. This is good. This is good. We've got here our 10 of Cups in its upright. So again, like a lot, like this is, I know, man, listen, I am also here. Like, I am also here. The last week, it's been some struggle. It's been a little bit of that struggle bus energy. I know it. We've been feeling it. I told you, it's that 1-2 punch, that get down, stay down of the Mercury retrograde. Like just when you were down, just to give the kick, right, for good measure, right in the confidence with that Mars going in retrograde, right? You know, your journey is not the journey of how many times you fall. It is the journey of how many times you fell before you got up, right? Like this is a lot of that energy. Like, you know, this is a lot. I can see a lot of the energy in separation saying, I refuse. Like this is how the energy. This is what we say to the past when the past says it will always be this way. Stay down. You can't fix it, right? The energy working through those retrograde struggles saying it will always be this way. Stay down. This is the energy that says it will not stay that way as long as I keep getting back up, right? So this is, I see even now a lot of that energy saying that ability of doing so, that is the energetic strength, because that isn't the energy that gives up. That's not the energy that says, I'm just going to become cynical. I'm just going to assume that everything is always the way that it needs to be. This is the energy that says, I am a part of that cycle. And if I get up every time, then that is also a part of that energetic journey. That navigating through that courage that we give each other, that is the energy that says, every time I get up, I am telling the universe that was an exception. That was not the rule. That was an exception to it. So I see even now that for a lot of this energy, this is that energy feeling that conviction, and that conviction is what is forging a lot of these new partnerships. Even in the most inconvenient circumstances, in the most frustrating places, I see even now beautiful things that are emerging. And that is the love that we give one another. Bottom of that is the message that's moving across all of the frequencies right now. That is the love that is being extended if someone is bringing volatility or turbulence towards something that is integral. And this is the energy that is feeling harder than themselves in divine union that says, I see you better than you see yourself. When you think you are failing, I love you even more because I see that that is the story of how many times you will rise. Bottom of the deck on this reading, the Star card in its reversal. So for a lot of this energy right now, you know, it's navigating uncertainty, situations or circumstances that leave us in a space of feeling very vulnerable. And it's not a fun vulnerable. It's an uncomfortable vulnerability, right? It feels like energetic distortion. But again, Energetic distortion should never impact one's intentionality, right? That ability of recognizing and identifying that, letting that kind of like, like recognizing like the circumstances or situations surrounding the self, how others may perceive you. Don't let it change how you perceive yourself. You know that you are precious. You know that you are sacred. And how others navigate you, like their ability of seeing that within you, let that be, don't let that be, again, don't let that be a rule. Let that be informative. If something about you being your authentic self, if someone is reactive to it, then congratulate that authentic sense of self, because that authentic sense of self just protected you for someone that is not for you. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, gracestrega.com. Booking a private reading with me is a two-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please, please, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website, so I encourage you to do it there. Also, a couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who attended our recent class on the Chariot. We will be continuing our tarot class series with an exploration into the Strength card. That class will be held on Wednesday, December 18th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. If you would like to become a part of our tarot class program, all you need to do is join me over on Substack, graystrega.substack.com. Your paid subscription to my Substack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You'll also have access to all of the full Tarot Church library. That is over 8 hours worth of material, previous classes that are at for your consumption when you're ready to receive them. It's not necessary to catch up. I will be giving a recap in each and every class on what we've studied thus far. You'll also have updates. You will also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and my other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything that we've learned thus far. And if you become a founding member to my Substack, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, you will also receive a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, wherein I will assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize the classes and your own personal practice to the best of your advantage going forward towards your personal tarot goals. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something for everyone there, regardless of your level. Also, if you are a subscriber here on TikTok, I would encourage you to go over to our subscriber-only Discord channel. There you will find a special coupon code that will give you an additional discount on that Substack subscription. Also, I want to let you guys know that even if you don't become a paid subscriber, I would encourage you to follow me over on Substack. There you will find my weekly newsletter, which will let you know about my in-person events and my online live schedule each week. You'll also be able to see receive the podcast and all of the photos of each day's spreads. You will also have access to our giveaway information. And speaking of giveaways, congratulations to our November giveaway winner. Please head over to my Substack to see if you've won. Finally, I want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for those clients that are seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series. That is 4 45-minute classes, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow.